Hey everyone, it's Steve with Steve Scott SEO here with another cool tool just for you. Today's cool tool is from Barracuda Digital and it's called the Panguin Tool, which is a mashup of Panda and Penguin. Back in the day when Google had first released these updates, they created a tool that allowed you to take a look at the changes that Google was making as compared to your Google traffic. So the tool actually will reach into your analytics, show you your Google traffic, and then compare them to when changes were made in Google, both announced and just sort of thought of by the internet community, to see what's going on. Really simple tool to use. Check it out. You simply go up here to barracuda.digital slash penguin tool, the dash tool, and you'll see something like this. You have to click on the use for free button to begin the process. Once you do that, you are taken to a page where you sign into your Google account. So whichever the Google account you want to use that's connected to your analytics, because it's going to need to pull the information from your Google Analytics account. Once you do that, you have to allow it access to your Google Analytics data. And from there, you'll get a list of all the analytics sites that you have access to. I'm only going to show you one of them here, and I'm going to just go ahead and click on the one. And when you do that, you're taken here. And this is eventually where you want to get to. Now, what's happening again is the tool, since it's been given access to your analytics, it goes to Google Analytics and it checks out all of your Google traffic coming to your website. This has got nothing to do with any other traffic, whether it's direct traffic coming from Bing. We're just trying to see if there's been a problem in Google or a change in Google that's caused a problem for you. And what happens with this tool is it actually shows you your traffic, and these little lines show up, right? And these lines are representative of one of these kinds of Google changes, right? So maybe it's a change related to Panda or Penguin, has the name of the tool is built around. Maybe it's a structural change. Google's changing the way they do things. Maybe it's a local change. So if Google has changed the way the local listings, the map listing area, it shows up at the top of Google. Or maybe it's something to do with the mobile device. As you turn these on and off, right? If I go to other, notice this orange one turns itself off and on. If I hit switch all off, they all go off. And I can turn them on individually. This is here is a structural issue, and the other one is an other issue. And what's nice about these is you can click on these little bars. It'll pop up and tell you what that change was. In this case, for the orange other bar, this was the Google Products Review update. A little description of it'll show here. This happened on April 8th. This is a European company, so they do day, month, year rather than the US version of month, day, year. So it can be confusing for us Americans to deal with sometimes, but just be aware as you go in, that's what's going on. And it'll also give you a little link to an external source for information about this particular update. And what you're really trying to do with this is you want to kind of take a look at, do any of these lines sort of line up with either some kind of an issue, like a big drop off in Google search traffic to your website, or maybe some big uptick. Maybe things were kind of stale and they weren't working really well, and something happened and all of a sudden you jumped back up. Now, again, a really big thing to keep in mind here is that just because these kind of line up doesn't necessarily mean that this caused the problem. So for example, if you look at this pink one here with the structural update, this one for the Google passage ranking going into play on February 10th, and again, we'll talk more about that there. You see it sort of at the bottom of this drop off, right? So they were having some decent traffic up here. It all kind of fell out, kind of bottomed out around there, but picked up here. So the odds are that if something did happen because of this particular change in Google, it didn't really impact for very long. Things popped back up where they were. And even though this one here shows at around the same time as a valley in the organic traffic, it pops right back up. And it looks like, as you can see, there's been several valleys that occur pretty regularly for this particular site. So again, I don't see any particular issue here. I might want to get a look at this one and say, well, what's the factors that may have caused people to fall off in organic traffic because of this change? What changes might I need to try to make to my website if that's going on? But anyway, remember, this is not going to be a definitive fix. This is only going to be a way for you to potentially figure out why there's been a sudden drop or increase in Google traffic, only Google traffic, by looking at your analytics, and comparing it to when the other changes were. They do have now an algorithm timeline, and if you click on that, you're taken to this page here, but as you scroll down, you can see they've got all of the different timelines down here. And this will show you, let me zoom down a little bit, this will show you kind of all of the various changes that have happened over time. Notice there's the one here from April 8th, another one from February 10th. Those are those two issues. You can see down there was a broad core algorithm update in early December, another one, a Google subtopics update in November. And if you click on these things here, it'll open up and again give you some more information about it, give you a link to it. You can see all the other updates over the years, all the way back to 2000. So that can give you some ideas as to what's happening. Something else that you could do if you want to get a bit more zoomed in, there's a little zoom icon you can click on here, and then you can just sort of drag over a few days and just zoom right in and see what may be happening, what particular day that was going on. Hitting reset zoom is there. And again, you can also just kind of go in here and say, make change to the date and say go. And I've gone back a year or so. They didn't have their analytics in place before then. And you can see there's several different bars here that are showing up. If I open up or switch all these back on, they all kind of fall into play here. I will turn off the new Google users, just go with the regular ones. And again, we can see a lot of these lines sort of line up with peaks, but this is the one that kind of concerned me because of it was the biggest valley that we've seen, right? And I can just highlight that, zoom in, and see what this was. I don't believe that this is what's impacted them, but you can see Google said that this new ranking update will affect 7% of search queries across all languages when it's fully rolled out globally. So something to look at, but as I mentioned before, because it peaked back up here, I just think this is kind of one of those glitchy things that occurs every now and then. Anyway, the Panguin tool by Barracuda Digital, great little tool to help you understand where Google changes occur and how they impact or where they occurred in relation to your organic Google traffic coming to your website. Look for these things to see if there's any drops, any peaks or valleys, and act accordingly based upon what you see from what these changes were about, and if there's any way you can kind of fix them out. Well, that's the cool tool for this week. I hope you got some value out of that. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you check it out and try it, what you think. And as always, go ahead and subscribe and like to our channel for new Cool Tool Tuesdays every week. See you next time. Bye now. So if you have a particular situation or challenge that you'd like my help with, please head over to stevescottseo.com and book a free 15-minute consult with me. Oh, don't forget to hit subscribe and like. See ya.